Hi, I'm Jackson, and I'm here with Tony, and we're here to talk about Illuminate. So our business idea is to make anyone able to get reliable insights from their hiring interviews. These increased reliability translates to better hires, improved company image during the process, and reduction in bad hires. So our key value proposition is get reliable insights regardless of who's doing the interviewing.
So to go back to the very beginning of the work term, our top three objectives were to discover the workflow of a website, learn about AI, and to understand how businesses are run and the processes behind managing the technical aspects of the business. And so we had to change some of these things as time went on. So discover the workflow became learn about the workflow as well as the individual components which construct a larger picture, and learning about AI turned into learn how to work with AI.
So our original plan, what we actually did was we conducted user testing with the eCoop group to test our image survey idea, and we started learning about the web dev infrastructure. Then later on, we presented at the Problem Lab and the Concept 5K, and we did a design sprint to make Lumi, our first version of a chatbot for interviews, which was a big pivot for us. Then after seeing positive results, even if our prototype didn't work, we conducted Wizard of Oz testing with Josh and Victor to see what an ideal situation would look like. And as we did that, Tony made the landing page look very nice.
And to talk about how we chronologically progressed through the work term, during the first month, we prototyped ideas and decided we needed to pivot our business direction. In the second month, Jackson really dived deep into product manager space to understand our customers, while I tackled the AWS and backend direction of our website. In the third month, we participated in various pitch competitions, as Jackson mentioned, and we did user testing scenarios as well as design sprints. And then the last month, we created a platform for interesting customers. We set up our chatbot and workflows, as well as the fundamental behaviors. And we built audio recording tools as well as a transcription tool. And we interviewed potential customers and obtained follow-up.
So looking at our original PSR table, we were pretty optimistic that we'd be able to do solution refinement, when in reality, we pivoted our solution almost immediately. So instead of working on the prototype in month 2, 3, 4, we completely changed it. So we pivoted, we did our Wizard of Oz testing way later because we had to go back to problem validation. And we focused on customer interviews for the first 2 months instead of product refinement. So looking at what we actually did, we can see a couple of screenshots. Here's our original image survey, which was designed to get better insights. So then Tony built a prototype for it on the web, but we almost immediately pivoted to the chatbot then, which unfortunately encountered some technical difficulties. So we did a Wizard of Oz test, which is Tony right there pretending to be a bot. And then Tony built a transcriber to actually integrate this.
And then we also, on the side, developed a landing page. And this is also part of the landing page. And we created a page where customers can leave their contact info. And here's some of the info that we've gotten. And finally, this is the AWS EC2 instance. There's not much here, but this is basically hosting all of our backend.
Cool. So while Tony was working on the backend, I was attending some competitions and workshops. So there was the What's Your Problem talk, which was very inspiring. The MATLAB machine learning talk Tony went to, which was uninspiring and not that useful. The Velocity 50K competition was really interesting to watch. How not to waste the next decade of your life was less depressing than it sounds. The Problem Lab semis and concept semis were fun to do, but they were very hard to set up for. As we shifted to work from home mode, I attended a couple workshops on how COVID is affecting different groups, specifically our new target market. So if we look at our network map of sort of what did we learn, we pivoted a whole bunch on our products. We changed our customer segment, and so got to know product managers, HR reps, and hiring managers. Our business model went through a big pivot when we switched to customer segments. Relationships, we made a ton of really powerful relationships. We worked closely with the entrepreneurship community, and it was really fun to do experiments with the eLaunch group, the Lex chatbot, our Wizard of Oz test, and upcoming testing with the Bets interview process.
So to talk about our own self-assessment, I'll go first. So learning the business startup process, I'd say that's a 4. Decision-making and decision sequence processing, I'd say that's a 4. And adapting to external factors and uncertainty, I'm not very good at thinking on my feet, so about a 3.5 for me.
So I had similar ratings. So for learning the processes, I felt about a 4 because we were really staying within that problem solution fit and didn't really get to go into the broader marketing area. The decision making and decision sequencing I felt was also pretty good learning, but again felt constrained because we were kind of walking the same steps over and over. In the third one, adapting to external factors and uncertainty, I thought we did very well to recognizing when we needed to pivot and quickly incorporating that knowledge into our actual workflows.
And so to talk about our accomplishments real quick. So first, I developed design and branding for Illuminate along with Jackson. And I had a great time doing that. I really enjoy doing design. Second was creating the online platform for Illuminate. I've had no prior experience with web programming, so it was very insightful and I'm very happy with my progression. And then finally, I created the transcription tool as well as prototyping multiple different web apps for our previous ideas. And it was very interesting working with this new workflow of creating an application and then testing it and then creating a new one. It's very different than my usual workflow, and I enjoyed learning all the new things.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
That's it.
So for me, I was really proud that we pivoted pretty early on from survey methods to interview analysis because it incorporated the knowledge from our customers that I spent a lot of time gathering. And it also incorporated the research into how the problem space worked. Another thing I'm proud of is how much I read during the term. I felt like I learned a lot. And lastly, I was very proud of my community engagement, building relationships in a lot of different environments that I believe will last long term. So top 5 business learnings. If you don't know why you're building, you'll always feel behind. Customers know the problem, but getting them to recognize it is hard. The more you put others first, the easier it is to develop long-term relationships. You're going to need help, so you need to ask for it and be willing to accept it. Yeah.
So top 5 technical learnings. It's much faster to ask for help instead of trying to find the answer yourself, similar to what Jackson said. Time spent thinking about a problem should be adjusted to how big the problem is. Almost anything can be built. You just have to be creative / patient enough. And if you need to figure out a problem, chances are someone has already figured out the problem. You just have to find the solution. And it helps to draw everything out to see interconnections between different components.
So feed forward advice for the next co-op term. 1, it'll feel slow. When you make your plan, you can't predict how you're going to fail. So focus on the changes in your understanding, not necessarily the changes in what you can build. Second, explaining your vision tests your understanding. So explain very often to as many people as you can. Third, understand your problem before committing to a solution. If you don't understand the problem, you can't tell what solution is going to work. Fourth, it really helps to visualize, like Tony said, before you start developing. Fifth, learn how to take a hit and get back up. That's what this is all about. So finally, I would like Wayne to know that building connections between eCops was immensely valuable, but it fell entirely on us to develop. So the midterm update was a great example of what I'd like to happen more often, where there'd be more opportunities to meet up. Thanks.
And that's our final presentation. Thanks for listening. It was a great work term. Yeah. Wouldn't you say so, Jackson?
I would say so, Tony. Thanks for listening.